Alrighty. Uh, Hello, everybody, and welcome to this live stream where I'm going to discuss and look at some of the photos from my games yesterday at the local tournament, where I took my zines for the first time in the new tournament. I played them all last year since February. And yeah, so it's only only a 1 day event with 3 games. And there was a nice spread of different armies in this event. So there were 2 Zinch armies there. There was 1 Khorne, one I think one was a Slaves to Darkness Nurgle. One was, I think we had 1 Cities of Sigmar. What else did we have? 2 Slaanesh, 1 Sylvaneth. Trying to remember some of the others. Oh, Legion of Asgoth, if I'm saying that right. I don't know, the Chaos Dwarves, because the first time I've seen them on any table. But I like them. They were painted very nicely. Trying to think what other armies there were. Maybe I can't remember them all because I didn't face them all. But yeah, those are the main ones that I can remember seeing. And I was 1 Stormcast because my friend that I was playing the other night. There was a Skaven as well. But yeah, it was, all in all, it was a really good day and an enjoyable day. Everybody was nice, relaxed, having a good time. And that's one of the main things that I like about where we play, is it's all generally very relaxed. And yeah, so I ended up winning the tournament, finishing first. So yeah, I got myself a nice little trophy. Let's see if I can make sure I can see that right. Some cogs, and I got myself the box of the cards as a prize, the faction cards for Zinch, which will come in handy later on in the year for free quals if I can get there, providing I can get a ticket. But yeah, 3 games, 3 wins, none of them by any means easy. I had 3 tough factions to play against. We'll get to them as we do. So look here, we've got this photo on screen now is from game 1, which was the mirror match. It was Zinch versus Zinch, and our armies were literally almost mirrors of each other. There were only a couple of differences. We was using the same host Arcanum. We both had Kairos, we both had a Gaunt Summoner, we both had Blue Scribes, we both had 9 Skyfires, and we both had some Acolytes. Mine was slightly different in that I had a Chaos Sorcerer Lord on a Manticore. He had a Fate Master. He took some Chaos Warriors and had a 20 strong unit of Acolytes. I went for 3 10-man units of Acolytes. And yeah, my opponent finished deploying first and took the first turn. When I knew he had the first, was going to get the first turn, I forget the name of the battle plan. It's not escalation. I don't think it was escalation anyway. But there's 3 objectives on the dots, because one's bottom left, oh no, it wasn't. It was relocation orb. So it starts in the center and then moves to the bottom left or the top right. I deployed to be able to defend the bottom left, but also to be able to attack the top right if I needed to. And my opponent deployed very aggressively top left to attack my bunker effectively, pretty much, and go for the center. Excuse me. And yeah, so this is midway through turn 1. Yeah, this is midway through turn 1. And he deployed in a very aggressive manner, and I could tell straight away he was going for the Alpha Strike. And originally, when these 9 Skyfires at the bottom here were a bit further forward and a bit more bunched up, but when I realised he was going for the Alpha Strike, since we get the pre-game D3 units get to move, I think he moved Kairos and his discs, but yeah, he came at me straight away. For my pre-game move, I got 2 on the D3. Well, I got 3 on the D3, so 2 units could move 6 inches before the start of the game. So I pulled Kairos back and further to the side, and I spread out my Enlightened across in front of the Kairos, and to try and prevent him from charging Kairos straight away. I tried to protect my Gaunt Summoner a bit. He was pretty well protected there, where he was. And the idea was to pop out his pink horrors so that I could defend the bottom left objective with those 50 wounds effectively. And my opponent pushed his pink horrors to the center to do the same sort of thing, to take that. And he also pushed forward his Fate Master so that he could get rerolls to hit with his shooting from his pink horrors. And yeah, I might have got a 3 on my 3 units to advance, because I think I pushed my Chaos Sorcerer Lord forward a bit. But he took the first turn, so he was aiming to attack me and trying to kill me to reduce my retaliation. So he only managed to score the 1 point in his first turn. And let's see if we go to the next photo. If it's loaded, oh, there it is. So this was how it attacked directly in the center with his 9 Skyfires. We got a better look, and Kairos coming on my left flank, which I thought was a big mistake, committing so aggressively with his big spellcasting unit. That's from the next game. So I don't have any more photos from this game, because these were just ones that I took. So we'll go back to this, and effectively he pushed Kairos. This is it. These dice here, the bottom left, are where Kairos finished his move, because he flew and was hanging around there. He wanted to get the charge to kill the Gaunt Summoner. Now he made a charge long enough to be able to attack the Gaunt Summoner, but failed to kill him. Left him on 1 or 2 wounds. So I was very happy about that. Left me able to retreat him to just past where Kairos is now in my turn 1. I was unable to use my pink horrors there, but that was okay. I got him out of trouble. And he charged with his screamers that he summoned for free from his general, and he charged with his Skyfires. No, not Skyfires. His Enlightened. His 9 Enlightened, and Kairos. And he attacked first with Kairos here, and that was within 3 inches of one of my Enlightened which meant that when I attacked back with my Enlightened, because I think he turned one of my acolytes there into a spawn. Not that that bothered me. But when he attacked with Kairos, I was able to trigger my Enlightened next and attack the spawn, the sky sharks, screamers, and the Enlightened that he had all charged in. Was able to pile in and attack all 3 units. I killed all of the screamers. I think I killed the spawn. And I took the 9 Enlightened down to maybe been about 3 of them left at the end, I think, after I'd done all my attacks. So he charged and committed a bunch of his army earlier on, and forgetting that he was going to activate all the rerolls with my Enlightened, and lost a huge chunk of his army. Granted, when his Enlightened, the few Enlightened they had left, when they did attack, they killed a bunch of my Enlightened. But when I used the Destiny dice to auto-pass the morale on the few Enlightened that I had left, but he used Kairos' ability to change that dice roll to a 6, which meant that 3 ran, but because they're Enlightened, another one ran, so the remaining 4 that I had fled the field. But that was okay, because he was down to like 2 or 3 Enlightened left, so that threat was effectively neutered. So in my turn 1, my general, who was the Sorcerer Lord on Manticore, he popped his artifact to produce his 6 Screamers. I moved them towards the centre objective. I moved the rightmost unit of Acolytes towards the centre objective, and the Manticore up to this area terrain here, and charged those all in. Managed to kill a bunch of the Carrick Acolytes, if not all of them. Didn't manage to kill the Fate Master, but the 8 Screamers that were there around him were able to help secure that objective. The Acolytes charged in to make it into there as well. I ended up getting 15 bodies in there to his 11 to claim the relocation orb in my turn 1, gaining me the 3 points to his 1. I killed Kairos with magic, mainly here. I think I did pop him just with magic. I might have been a bit of shooting from the Acolytes. So that was, and I finished off his Enlightened. So I'd taken out the bulk of his army by the end of my turn 1. We both had ridiculously long hero phases, because in my hero phase I could cast 11 spells, and he was very similar. But we also had plenty of dispelling. So yeah, I was able to counter his initial charge. Then when the second round came on, the relocation orb came to the this innermost objective on my bottom left, and all he had was the 10 warriors here that could effectively threaten this objective. They failed to do much damage when they charged my Acolytes. I was still able to get plenty of people within 6 of the objective. My Gaunt Summoner, who was pretty much where Kairos is, I summoned the pink horrors a bit further forward, and then ran them over to this objective. He only had 9 warriors by the end. I still had plenty of acolytes, and then I had 10 pink horrors here, and we talked it out because by the time it got to the end of my turn, well, after effectively the movement phase in my turn 2, we'd taken so much time in both of our hero phases, casting and dispelling, there wasn't a lot of time left. So we talked it out, and we had no way of finishing the game before the time limit of getting another turn, and I'd scored 6 to his 2, and he had very little left in the way of his army, and because it could have gone to the left where it would have been mine, and even if it had gone back over to the right, I still had my Chaos Sorcerer Lord on Manticore was up here using combat with his acolytes and was just clearing them out with no problems. And I still had my Screamers here, which could have retreated and flown onto the objective with no issues. And I still had Kairos, I still had my blue scribes, I still had all of my casters, pretty much. Yeah. So I used the Quicksilver Sword, so I managed to kill his blue scribes. So he didn't have a great deal left, and I'd effectively crippled his army by my turn 2. So we ended that there with a few minutes left on the clock to save us both a lot of headache and trying to rush it. And that was the one that took the most effort, mainly because it was casting, dispelling, and long hero phases. But it was a fun game to go against Tzeentch, and Tato is a good friend of mine. One of the few Tzeentch players in the club, and it was a fun, enjoyable first game to play. And the next game, his Kairos is lovely as well. He painted it so well. On to the next game. This was against Slanesh, and he was playing Pretenders host, and we both had 10 drops, but I started deploying first, so I finished first. I opted to give him the first turn and deployed slightly conservatively, knowing that he had to come to the objectives, because this was shifting objectives. And I was happy for him to come closer and gain all 5 points, because especially the way he castled in the centre, he was unable to really look after these the 2 peripheral objectives. I mean, with 10 Seekers, you would think that that's plenty, but once my acolytes and my pink horrors that I summoned there were shooting in, as well as my exalted flame, I also shot at these. Didn't have much left in the unit. The pink horrors moved up, shot, charged in. Acolytes followed the suit and stayed further back. On my left flank, I took a unit of acolytes to behind the house, where one of the objectives was. My 3 Screamers and my Chaos Lord, Sorcerer Lord on Manticore, and were able to delete this unit of 5 Chaos Knights that he put on the objective. So in his first turn, he cast Mystic Shield and ran everything. My first turn was the same, casting lots of spells, moved aggressively on both of the flanks, secured both these two objectives. The centre one was worth 3 in the first turn. And he had a bunch here. He had his Keeper of Secrets, he had Celesk, he had 10 Chaos Warriors, the Contorted Epitome, and the Harpist. I forget what she's called. But yeah, you know what the Harpist is. And that was my main. The really frustrating me that I can't remember her name now. But that was the main thing that I had to was annoying me at first. And my main problem that I had to deal with as regarding magic, because if you cast on a double, you have to reroll your success in casts, and if you cast on a double, you suffer D3 mortal wounds. So for me and Kairos, for using Kairos, this was an issue. So I realised quickly I had the Quicksilver Swords in my army list, which is really good against Chaos, and we were playing in the realm of metal, so they were empowered. So I used 2 6s from my Destiny dice to cast that, so he couldn't dispel it. Moved it, deployed wholly within 10, moved 8, and then within 6 targeted his Harpist, Infernal Enrapturous. That's what she's called. Targeted her with the swords, nuked her, leaving me free of worries about spellcasting and re-rolling casts and rolling doubles. Then I continued to do a lot of damage with magic here. He had 3 fiends. I killed one of them automatically, created a spawn using Kairos's War Scroll spell, putting me a spawn near the objective and putting his guys in combat. I also was very aggressive with my 9 Enlightened, which were here slightly to the left of my slightly to the left of Kairos. So I moved them. Let's see if we got another photo. That was my right flank with the God Summoner. There's the centre that I had, nicely castled up. And yes, there it is. My 9 Enlightened here, I put them to the left of this, keeping them away from his Keeper of Secrets, but close enough to attack his Chaos Warriors, Celesk, and being close to his Contorted Epitome, and also dragging in a unit of his 10 Demonettes in. Now, I like Gear. He's a really good player. He knows what he's doing. But because he was Pretenders, he had lacked many command points. He was unable to make people attack a second time, and his dice rolling was really unlucky. He had some really bad dice rolls here, because he went first with Celesk attacking with the axe, did very little. I think the worst I suffered with my Enlightened was 2 wounds after everything attacked. So I still had all of mine to attack back, and they were all rerolling to hit and to wound. I killed his 10 Demonettes that were here. I killed Celesk, and I killed a few warriors. There was still enough there. It was close, but I wasn't able to kill everything I was in combat with. But the main things, his general Celesk was dead. A unit of Demonettes had gone. Some of the warriors, a majority of the warriors, but he still held the objective. So I only scored 2 in my first turn. However, on the priority roll for turn 2, I won the priority. And normally this early on in a game, I don't like to take the priority roles. But again, the position I was in and against Slanesh, I felt I had to. And when I seized the priority, he effectively conceded there. But we kept playing to keep what was going on. And at that point, a lot of the pressure had elevated, and I was doing things that were quite reckless and were pointless normally, that I wouldn't normally do, but it was fun, and it was a lot more relaxed after this point. For example, so I was trying to kill this Keeper of Secrets with an Exalted Flamer. But yeah, I even charged it in. It was so funny. And this spawn that I created in turn 1 survived the whole game, which was hilarious. It even survived attacks from the Keeper of Secrets, which made me laugh even more. I mean, it was sad to see, but he only had to do 1 wound to it, and he failed. And it was the same in a lot of the cases, hitting but not wounding. And yeah, so I secured by my turn 2, I'd secured all 3 objectives, and all he had left characters-wise was his Keeper of Secrets. And yeah, like by the end of the game, in this game I scored. We counted it up. I scored 22 to his 5. So it was very one-sided, especially once I gained the initiative on turn 2. And I kind of felt bad about that because he had some really bad luck. But that's from earlier. Where are the other photos? Oh, I guess I will have to go back because I have to go here. This is all I had. I don't have much from game 3 photos wise because there's other people taking these photos. So this was my half of the board on the game 3 against the Legion of Asgoth. He had a lot of shooting, and this table put him at a massive disadvantage because we had this huge wall, this huge chaos wall. There was loads of scenery here, blocking his line of sight. The only way was in the centre. There was a gap there, and at the 2 edges. This one was escalation, and he took the top right, the right hand objective with 20 guys with the flame pikes. I just sent 1 unit of a small unit of 10 acolytes to harass them. I had no intentions of taking or attempting to take that objective. I was just threatening. The rest of my army came for the centre, but that was easy. I put my horrors there on the centre objective. He was never going to take that. He didn't even attempt to go anywhere near it. My 2 units of acolytes to the bottom left, as well as my Exalted Flamer. I moved my Enlightened over and brought Kairos across. Yeah, he was at a huge disadvantage because he had a bunch of artillery and with really good range, but he just couldn't see me. He had to spend most of the game moving, trying to shoot. All he could shoot with was his mortar, which missed a lot as well, and then I used Kairos' ability to change one of the wound rolls to a 1, so he failed. I ended up tying that up with the 3 Screamers as well, with the 6 Screamers, moved them over and charged in, pulling it into combat, stopping it shooting the rest of my army. Let's see, these guys, when it loads, were on the left flank as well as the artillery and his bull centaur flyy monstery thing, whatever it's called. So he was going heavily on his right flank, on my left flank with his attacking stuff. With shooting and magic, I was able to neuter these bull centaurs. Mostly, one of them was a character. I took him out with the Enlightened, and also drew into combat his big character here and his 2 war machines, holding them in place for a turn. And took out the main threat of these 2. Well, by the time I attacked, he only had 1 left, which wasn't enough to secure the objective, and the same with everything else. So I basically let him have his 1 objective on the far right, and I took the centre and the bottom left objective and just held them for the whole game, finishing off 10 points to his 5. And yeah, it was unfortunate for him that, especially since his artillery are behemoths, so he had to sit right at the back. And yeah, and he couldn't draw line of sight with his artillery, so there's not a lot he could have done. And his couple of units that he had were slow moving. One of them came to the bottom left and then got nuked by Kairos using the Sorcerer Lord on Manticore's War Scroll spell. I was really lucky with that roll for damage, and wiped them out in 1 turn with magic. So yeah, it was an enjoyable game. Kind of, it would have been. I think it would have been more fun if he had been able to draw line of sight with some of his artillery. It was just bad luck, the table that we drew for this round. But it was fun playing against a new, different army that I've not played against before. The Skies of Fire, or whatever it's called, the allegiance ability that they get, it was really useful against my army. Where if a unit that can fly moves more than 6 inches on a 4 or a 5, he rolls a dice. On a 4 or a 5, they take a mortal wound. On a 6, they take D3 mortal wounds. Really hampered my movement because I didn't want to be taking those mortal wounds. So my flying units, for the most part, were just moving 6. My Enlightened I didn't care about so much because they had 4 wounds each. The Screamers I didn't care about because they had 3 wounds each and high leadership. So I was happy for them to move. But mainly my spellcasters that could fly, I was keeping them moving slowly after I found that out. But yeah, I won every priority roll in this game, I think. Yeah. Which helped, again, for most of my games. I think I won most of the priority rolls, which helps a great deal. But yeah, again, this was mainly spending most of my army hiding from his artillery, and then just destroying whatever got close to me, or as close as it could. But yeah, I mean, that's it for the 3 games. A lot of fun. Although for now, I'm going to retire my Zinch since I've achieved my main goal, my primary goal for this year, which is to win a local tournament. So my Zinch can sit on the shelf for a bit because while I enjoy using them, I would rather my opponents, my friends, have more enjoyable games against me. So I'm going to use my Slaves to Darkness, my Slanesh Mortals, my Cities of Sigmar for a bit until towards September, when it's time for Freak Wars in Madrid. I intend to go there this year, and I will be taking my Zinch with me, no doubt. And so yeah, that's my next big goal, is to attend and attempt to take home the trophy from uh, Freak Wars, though guaranteed the competition level there is going to be a lot higher. But yeah. Uh, so that's pretty much it as far as um, as far as it goes for this competition. And yeah, some people think Zinch are overpowered. There are certain builds that I think definitely are. If I was to play against a host internal conflagration with what do you call them, 100 flamers or however many flamer spam, I know I would struggle. But again, I was just using what I had and was able to solve all problems that were put towards me with a very varied amount of arms, different weapons at my disposal. I'm thinking there's a good chance for Freak Wars I might end up taking Bellacore instead of the Chaos Sorcerer Lord or Manticore, but we'll see. There's a good chance I might take this army. It's very useful, very flexible. But we'll see how things go as the FAQs come. As the FAQs come, and what happens in the General's Handbook changes when that drops. Freak Wars is a long way away yet. But yeah, so I'm going to call that a day here. And yeah, if anybody has any questions, comments, let me know in the comments box below. And I'll see you again soon. Maybe see if I can get a battle report going, maybe with the league game that I'll be having soon, using my Slaanesh Mortals against the Daughters of Cain, which is going to be a tough game. But yeah, until next time, take care, and happy wargaming.